everybody. Aaron Breitman. A few minutes after Rutgers loses to Iowa, 76-65, Sunday afternoon. One of those days where Rutgers was behind early, and Iowa was came out really hot, and they fought back. They trailed the whole game, but just wasn't enough. Credit to Iowa. I thought. Rutgers just looked out of it from the beginning. They came out flat. Defensively, they were very slow on ball reversals, in terms of the rotations. Defensively, they just looked out of sync, and it was their third game in 7 days, but this definitely was the worst defensive game they've had this year. And, Iowa is just one of those teams that it seems like with Rutgers, this is their third win at the rack in the last, 4-5 seasons? Since 2019. 19 was the Wieskamp game. Then you have the 21, and then now this game. And then last year, Rutgers won 48-46 at the rack, but then lost in the Big Ten quarters to Iowa. So Iowa is a team that is really tough has always been really tough for Rutgers to defend. They did hold them under their season average by 6 today. They've held every team, under their scoring average for the season, but wasn't enough. They did much better in the second half in terms of allowing point-wise, but, Iowa just from three-point range, I think 7 of 14 in the second half. They were 12 of 27 for the game, which is 44%, 12 threes. It's tough to beat a team when they make 12 threes. Rutgers not so good, 5 of 18 from 3. We've talked about that. They did hit the 5 number, but a lot of misses. They only shot 38% for the game. Rutgers, listen, they forced 15 turnovers. They held Iowa to 45% overall, but it was the 3-point shots. And Sanford, who's I think statistically was the worst 3-point shooter in the Big Ten coming into the game. He's a good player. He got hot. And, it's just one of those days where, a guy on the other team that you don't expect is just killing you. And, offensively, Iowa threw a zone at Rutgers. It slowed him down. They took Mulcahy out of the game. He's been playing, great, and did not have a good game at all. I think he finished 2 of 10. He had a couple shots towards the end, but, was out of his flow. And Rutgers as a whole offensively, they just they looked a little bit lost offensively. Cliff again, he had 9 and 9, not a terrible day, but he hasn't taken that step on offense that I think we all kind of thought he would. In terms of being a go-to guy, having the offense run through him. They really haven't figured that out. So I think the zone 2 kind of flummoxed them a little bit on rebounding. Iowa out-rebounded them. That was a problem. It just was one of those games. I mean, they cut it. It's a game of runs. As bad of a start as they got off to, I think Iowa hit 8 of the first 12 shots. So you knew it was going to be kind of a long day. Rutgers did battle back. They cut it to 36-30. Before the half, and then they gave up 2 threes before the half. They fouled on a 3, which was a bad play, and Iowa hit all 3 free throws, so they're 36-30, a couple minutes left in the half. Go to the locker room, 42-30. That's just a killer, absolute killer. And they end up losing by 11. They cut it again down to 5 in this second half, 55-50. Andre Hyatt hit a bucket. And then, so they're creeping down 2 possessions, and then, boom, Sanford just kind of took over and hit monster shots to put Iowa back. And then ultimately, Rutgers got it back to 6 with a minute to go, and then Iowa wins by 11. So, frustrating day for sure. Rutgers couldn't close a 3-0 week. Not a devastating loss by any means. I think, Iowa just, beat Indiana. They started 0-3. They had a terrible, terrible loss to Eastern Illinois. But listen, this is a good team. I mean, Iowa could easily finish in the top half of the Big Ten. It's still early. They're always a great offensive team. And, Rutgers kind of got caught in the buzzsaw today. I don't think it's any reason to panic. They're not going to play their best all the time. I think they were kind of, I don't want to say they would do a defensive dud, but, this happens to every team has a really, kind of, throwaway defensive performance, even great defensive teams, and hopefully, this was the one for Rutgers. So, and they got it out of the way. Long term, I mean, this is going to hurt some. This is a quad 2 loss. It's their second quad 2 loss this season now. But the good news is Seton Hall moved up to a quad 2 loss now. They just had a big win yesterday over Butler. Temple's moved up to a quad 3 loss, so there's no quad 4 losses anymore. There's one quad 3 loss, two quad 2 losses. They're 2-2, quad 1. A lot of quad 2 and quad 1 opportunities remain. And then two quad 1 opportunities next week. You go to Northwestern now on Wednesday, which is a massive game. Northwestern now 3-1 in the Big Ten. Just beat Indiana at Indiana by 1 after, beating Illinois at home this week. So Rutgers always has a tough time against Northwestern on the road. That's going to be just a huge game. And then you come home next Sunday against Ohio State. So huge week ahead. They're 3-2. They're 3-2 in the Big Ten. They're 11-5 overall. Their analytics are still going to be good. They'll take a hit after today. Ken Palm will drop back a little bit. I think they'll still be third nationally defensive efficiency, but obviously took a hit. Iowa was 1.15 points per possession. Rutgers finished offensively exactly 1.00 points per possession. I think one thing that I think was apparent and statistically backed it up. In the 30 minutes Cam Spencer played, Rutgers was +2. And in the 10 minutes he didn't, they were -13. So the importance, I think, of anybody that won this week for Rutgers, as much as Paul Mulcahy played great those first two games, we know that he can do that. I think knowing what Cam Spencer, his importance now to this team, what he's done this week, very consistent all three games, anywhere from 13 to 15 points, I think all three. Again, today was very similar to Thursday. 13 points, 5 rebounds, 3 assists, 3 steals, made 3 threes. +2 on the floor with Cam Spencer in 30 minutes. And the 10 minutes he was off the floor, they lost by 13. So I think that kind of says it all. I think what he brings to this team on both ends of the floor is just huge. So I think that that's a win in terms of this week. If you look at the whole week as a whole, you can't hang your heads too low after this game. Yes, it's disappointing. We all wanted that 3-0 week. We all wanted that 4-1 start in Big Ten play instead of top the Big Ten standings. But there's a long way to go. 25% through the regular season, 75% to go. Cam Spencer's a player now. You know how important he is to this team. Rutgers shot 80% from the free throw line today, 12 of 15. They've shot 80% from the free throw line over the last 7 games now. That's huge. That's a win. And then, I think they battled back. They did not give up in this game. They fought hard. This team's going to fight hard, even when they don't play well. It was certainly a struggle on both ends. I think, defensively they'll learn from this. I think, I think teams are, listen, not every team can pass the ball and shoot the ball like Iowa. So it's not an easily replicatable, scheme to beat Rutgers defensively, where you're a great passing team and a great shooting team, which I think Iowa, they've been slow shooting wise, but they're coming to life right now. So they scored 91 against Pillow Soft Indiana on, was it Thursday? Rutgers still held them below their season average, but again, 12 threes, tough to beat a team giving up 12 threes. I think Rutgers was a little bit due in getting burned on threes a little bit, so I think that's something they have to clean up long term. And I think, figuring out Cliff, getting him more involved defensively is important. Also I want to shout out Caleb McConnell. He played a very good game. He was a stat stuffer. He was 6 of 8 from the floor. He looked to take control at times when they needed a bucket. 12 points, 7 rebounds, 4 assists, 4 steals. So, listen, he's playing really, really hard. And this team plays really hard. Mag had 9, I believe. Derek Simpson gave him something off the bench, 8 points. Hyatt gave him 7. They're getting consistent scoring off the bench from Hyatt and Simpson. That's going to give him a chance in most games as well. So still a lot to like about this team. I mean, you beat the number 1 team in the country on Monday. You beat a good Maryland team. I think Maryland's going to be top 10. I still think they will be. I think they're going through a tough stretch. So, they're not an easy team. And now you have, this is the gauntlet, right? Now you're going to 2 really, really, really tough games next week. You need a split, stay above 500 in Big Ten play. And, just the grind continues. So there's no easy games. And, I don't think, there's still a lot of positives from this game. I think concerning wise, the zone seems to give Rutgers a problem. They need to work on that. I think, Mulcahy was taken out of the game. Teams are going to try to replicate that. Maybe they do that by the zone. You have to see now. But Northwestern's a very good defensive team. So that's going to be a fascinating matchup. And that's, a big bounce back game for Rutgers. They're going to want payback after losing by 1 there last year. That was Mulcahy's breakout game. So This is Big Ten play. We're in the middle of January. Actually, excuse me, we just finished the first week of January. This week felt like a gauntlet in its own. And listen, Rutgers is sitting 3-2 in the Big Ten, and it could be a lot worse. And they're certainly in the top half right now, with something to build on. So definitely some positives. Obviously disappointing, some concerns, but overall. Everything's still in front of this team. Analytically, they will still be in very good shape after this loss. They will take a hit, maybe, be back to around 20, or maybe low 20s in the net. KenPom maybe a couple steps back, but, big week ahead now. Got to turn the page, and, we'll go from there. So check out all my coverage at thescarletfaithful.com. I made a lot of changes this week. Appreciate all the support, and check out, presentation-wise, content-wise, accessibility, user-friendly, all that. Really working to make it the best Rutgers site, there is. Appreciate all the support, and, enjoy the rest of your Sunday. And thanks for watching again at The Scarlet Faithful.